Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for taking me to Hooters too, Pastor. You're awesome. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. He went by himself. I saw him. I was driving by. I was like, hey. All right. We're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh and stuff. Some people think you shouldn't laugh in church. My response to that is, what good father doesn't want to hear his children's laughter in his house? So we'll laugh. So I have a nonprofit. It's called Funny for the Forgotten. And what we do is we go to homeless shelters, prisons, abuse, children's facilities. But our slogan / mandate, if you will, is making laughter commonplace in uncommon places. So right now, one of the reasons I'm here is because I know people, even sitting here watching online, you've been through some stuff. A lot of emotions have been going on. And I get to show up and hopefully bring some laughter into your life. That's gonna be awesome. It'll be a lot of fun. And if you don't laugh, it's okay. I already got my check, so I'm good. I don't care I'm good with that. And then tonight, well, let me say this. I always pray beforehand to say, hey, God, is there something, just a clear statement you want me to make for the people, just a clear statement. And I feel like God wants me to say to you that he's here. So whatever that means in your life, if you feel like he's here, just whatever, just write it down, I don't know, meditate on it. That's what I feel like he's supposed to say. Then tonight, we're doing Funny How Marriage Works. Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. This is gonna be so much fun. My wife will be on stage with me. We're gonna talk about, it'll be completely different comedy than what you're gonna see tonight. It's like, for example, tonight, a joke that I might do. I've been thinking about, you ever go to the Dollar Tree? There's always something a little wrong with the stuff there, just a little. It's not all the way, just a little. Like I bought a shirt, it was an extra medium. I'm like, I don't know if this is right. My daughter bought me a Bible from the Dollar Tree. I was reading where Judas fought the giant and stabbed him in the back or something. It's comedy. Welcome, sir. You just got here? Yeah, we all did offering already. This is awesome. We're gonna have some fun. This is gonna be great, cool. He's not gonna reach at all. He's just gonna stand there the whole time. I love giving too, but I love to give. I'm not talking about the tithe. The tithe, that's not giving. That's called not stealing. I'm not talking about that. So that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have some fun with that. Right now, I'm gonna tell you this cool story. I'm gonna tell you a couple stories from my life. Today, I'm just gonna tell you some stories from my life. Now, there's more stories. I wrote a book called Funny How Life Works. And if you want to get a copy of the book, it's available in the lobby, or you can go wherever books are sold. But if you buy in the lobby, well, here's what we're doing. Because there's so much stuff going on in the world, what we decided to do with the proceeds is going to a black family in America. So. Yeah, that's what we're going to do with the money. So there's 3 verses of scripture that I want that's going to apply today. You can write them down and read them later. I think they'll pop in a new way as a result of what we talk about today. So the first one is Jeremiah 29:11. You might be familiar with that, but it's Jeremiah 29:11. Then there's James 10:27. And then also Revelations 3:20. So Jeremiah 29:11, John 10:27, and Revelations 3:20. I'm gonna give you a little bonus too. 2 Romans 5. There's no 2 Romans. If you got 2 Romans, take your Bible back to the Dollar Tree. All right, so we're already laughing a little bit at church. When I was a kid, laughing at church was illegal. You couldn't laugh at church. I remember one time laughing, this lady was jumping around, her wig fell off. I cracked up laughing. My grandmother would pinch and twist. I can understand a pinch. You gonna twist? It's probably the devil. Church was miserable growing up. It was miserable. My shoes were like 3 sizes too small. And my grandmother had this thing called a shoehorn. So if your foot don't fit, now it do. So my toes were balled up for like 6 hours, just hurting, just in pain, like it didn't make any sense. And my shirts, all my clothes were too tight. Every Sunday I wore a white and brown shirt. Actually, it was just white, but the buttons were so tight. The lady gave a thumbs up. You're welcome for the visual. She was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Church was just miserable. I didn't enjoy it at all. One time, like the dude was on stage and he was mad at everybody. There's just a random dude on stage and he mad, and I figured he was mad because of the phlegm he had caught in his throat. Because at the end of every sentence, he would try to get it out. He'd be like, the Lord said, act like you. You should visit a black church sometime. This is back in school. That joke would be hysterical if you did that. One time I went to church, there was a dead body in the front. Nobody explains to a 7-year-old Michael Jr., this is a funeral, it's not church. I'm thinking that's how they roll. Like every few weeks or so, they bring a dead body in as an example. And the people on stage, and the dude on stage yell at us like we did it. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, Grandma, what happened to the man in the box? What happened to the man in the box? Her entire explanation was, he in a better place. I'm like, what kind of box did he live in before? I don't understand any of that stuff. It didn't make sense. Some churches, they don't let you in when the pastor praying. If he praying, they won't let you in. They got them little half gloves on that almost fit, and they like, you can't go in, they praying. You think God losing focus because we moving? Like God is like, they keep moving, I can't do nothing. Like, 14 years old, instead of forcing me to go to church, my grandmother did something different. She asked me if I wanted to go. She didn't force me, she just said, hey, do you want to go? I was like, let me think this over, no. So I stopped going to church. I'm like, I'm not going to church anymore. Just hung out with my friends. We couldn't do too much because we were broke. We were broke going up. I was actually being sponsored by a family from Haiti. Some Christians don't know what to do with that joke. You can't laugh and shake your head. When you don't got no money, you get creative. I remember when I was 10 years old. I remember at 10 years old, I wanted an action figure. All I wanted was an action figure. My birthday comes along, my dad hands me a box. I opened it up, it was empty. He said, it's Invisible Man. I played with that thing for 3 weeks. Till my brother hid it from me, man. I also noticed around this age that I was struggling with my reading. Now, I knew it before this, but I didn't care. But now I'm noticing girls, and I don't want the girls knowing I'm struggling with my reading. I read fine now, by the way. Let me just say that. Like the signs over the door that say excite, I could read that stuff. But I used to struggle with my reading. I couldn't sound words out like everybody else. It just didn't work that way. So my mind would scramble if I needed to figure out what a word was. I would look at the font size, the color, the positioning, what's in front of it, what's behind it, how people responded to it. I came up with 7 different ways to look at a word to determine what the word was. Then I got really good at it. To the point in high school, people didn't know I wasn't really reading. I was just working it out really, really fast. Now as an adult, I read just fine, but I still have this ability to look at words and people and situations 7 different ways almost immediately. In fact, it's the primary place that I pull my comedy from. So that very thing from my past, it looked like it was a handicap. It seemed as if I was dealt a bad hand. God didn't cause it, but he's used it in preparation for what he asked me to do. Let me say this again so you can hear what I'm saying. The things from your past, the fact that you never met your dad before, you were molested as a child, God didn't cause that, but he'll use it in preparation for what he's called you to do. Chances are somebody needs to hear your story so you can be set free and they can too. It's almost like you were practicing. That's how I look at it. It's like I was practicing. God didn't cause the practice, but it's like practice and preparation for what he's called for me to do. A cleaner way to say this is the first time I ever said it was the last service. Sometimes the things from your past will show up in your current and affect your future. The things from your past will show up in your current and they can affect your future. It's up to you and how you look at it that will determine if it affects it negatively or positively. So when I say they'll affect your current, they'll show up in your current, there's things happening currently right now that is probably triggered from the past that can affect your future. So you got to get curious now as to how is this happening. So now, as a result of my practice, I find funny everywhere. I just do. Somebody asked me a weird question. You heard this question before. So where you from originally? I was like, originally? Huh. Well, I was conceived in Michigan. Before that, I was with my dad. Yeah. Then there's a swim competition. And I won, which is crazy, right? Because currently I don't swim at all, man. I don't swim at all. But I used to be fast, man. I was fast. I like foul, like That was fast, man. That was fast. I'm at the airport. This is how my practice shows up. I'm at the airport. Cool little white kid walks up to me, asks for an autograph. I was like, cool, what's your name, buddy? He said, I'm Tanner. I was like, no, you're not. I just saw somebody over there explaining that joke. It's Tanner, but he's white. He's Tanner. 26 years old. I moved to New York City. I hope you're tracking. I went from 7, 14, 26. The reason I moved to New York City is because I want to know if I'm funny. What I mean by that, I'm doing comedy in the Midwest, which is great, but in New York, if you're not funny, they'll let you know. And the way they'll let you know is they'll say something like, you're not funny. So there's a comedy club in New York called the Comic Strip Live. It's a very, very hard club to get into. In fact, they used to have open mics on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Comedians who were new in town, like myself, would start lining up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So you could do 90 seconds in front of the manager in hopes that you can get on a list so you don't have to wait in line the next month. It's very, very hard to get in this club. It's finally my turn to perform at the Comic Strip Live, and right before I'm getting ready to get on stage, a well-known comedian named George Wallace walks in, which means I'm about to get bumped. That's what happens. I'm gonna get bumped. George Wallace is great, very funny. One of his jokes, he said he was in China and he bought a pair of shoes and he looked at the bottom of it and it said, made right around the corner. I love George Wallace, but I'm about to get bumped. The manager's already walking over to me, but no, this is where God shows up for the first time in my life. Well, this is the first time I noticed him. It's a difference. The manager says to me, listen, Michael, George Wallace is here. Would you like to go on before him or after him? I was like, before him, please. Like, you never get an option. That never happens. You never get an option. I got an option. I was like, before him, please. I go on stage. I got New Yorkers laughing. But not only are they laughing, George Wallace comes in and he's laughing as well. And then he asked me a question. He said, hey, why don't you curse? Now, let me explain to you guys why I didn't curse. Because at 14 years old, me and a friend made a deal that we wouldn't curse anymore. If he heard me curse, he could hit me in the chest hard as he wanted to, vice versa. I stopped cursing immediately. But George Wallace is asking, why don't you curse? I can't tell him. So I was like, I don't know. What if my grandmother walk in? My grandmother ain't coming to no comedy club in New York. What was I gonna say? My friend might hit me in the chest? I'm a grown man. So he laughs and he says, you know what, you're funny. I'd like for you to do a show with me and my best friend in a couple nights. I'm pumped. I don't even know what his best friend is. I get to the show, I find out his best friend is Jerry Seinfeld. We did 2 shows. I got 2 standing ovations. I rip. I'm the man. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. After the show, club manager, it's a different club. He walks up to me. He says, Michael, you had a great set, man. Really, really funny. He's like, let me ask you a question. I was like, yeah. He said, would you like to go to church with me tomorrow? And my first thought was, man, back up. You're making my feet hurt. That was my very first thought. I'm like, I ain't going to church. I just got 2 standing ovations. Why are you messing this up? And I'm going to pause for a second. My conscious, subconscious thought was, back up, you're making my feet hurt. For real. Why? Why would that be a thought? Yeah, because when I was a kid, I went to this church and I was in pain while I'm in the church. My feet were so tight in these shoes, I created a negative neural association that said church equaled pain. Something from my past was showing up in my current, trying to affect my future. And if I didn't get curious in that moment, which I didn't do, if you don't get curious about what's affecting your current, by default, you'll get furious. I didn't know back then. I had no idea. So I just said to him, no, I don't want to go to church, man. I'm cool. I don't want to church. And I said, no, it's cool. 20 minutes later, his fiance asked me the same question, but she was fine. She pales in comparison to my wife now, but I ain't have a wife then. She was fine. Now listen, there's only 2 reasons, and this is on the real, there's only 2 reasons you do anything in life. There's only 2 reasons. Every choice you made today comes down to one of these 2 reasons: to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. Period. So his fiance asked me if I wanted to go to church, and she was beautiful. She had this accent too. She was like, Michael Jr., would you like to go to church with us? I was like, I was just looking for a church the other day, man. Find a church, man. So I go to this church, and I can't even find the people who invited me. This dude is, and the church is huge, and this dude comes out on stage, and he starts talking about Jesus. That's it. He's not screaming, he's not yelling, he don't got no perm. He's just talking about Jesus. Then he did this thing where he did like an altar call. He said, raise your hand, come forward, and Jesus is yours. And I wanted to do it. Listen, Foothills, I really, really, really wanted to, but I was like, nah, I gotta read the pamphlet first. Because I knew a couple Christians, and they was creepy. There's some creepy Christians out there. If you don't know any creepy Christians, it's you. Yeah, your friends know one. Or should I say your friend? So I was like, nah, I gotta read the pamphlet first. So I told myself before I gave my life to Jesus, I need to read the Bible first. I didn't even have a Bible. A couple of days later, I'm at like this mall area, and this woman walks up to me, hands me a Bible, and walks off. We don't exchange any words. I'm like, snap. First of all, I didn't know it was that big. So I turn to the very first page, the cover page, and I look in the Bible, I read the copyrights, because I don't know where I'm supposed to start. The Bible was made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm like, snap, me too, man, it's crazy. We never met before. I'm reading the Bible, I'm going to church, I'm reading the Bible. I'm digging into the Word. I'm putting in 12 to 14 hours a day reading the Bible. That was like a chapter a day. Like I'm digging in, like I'm just... I remember reading and I get to the part about the job. I'm like, no wonder I don't want one of them. That is crazy, man. Let me keep going. You guys should study more. And I'm reading. I get to the part in Matthew where it said Jesus died for me. I did not know till I was 27 years old that Jesus died for me, till I read it in the Bible. I didn't know. I had no idea till I read it in Matthew. Then I turned to Mark and he died again. Then I got to Luke, I get to John, I'm like, why are you going back in the garden, Jesus? You know what they gonna do. Listen, I wish that was a joke I wrote. I really thought he died 4 times. I never read a book that had books in it. It didn't make sense to me. So I finished reading the Bible. It took me 36 days to read the Bible. I finished the Bible, and I remember going to the altar. I got to church, and I was like, I want Jesus. And I went up to the altar like during the announcements. Normally it's at the end. I'm like, no, I know you got a picnic, whatever. And now I understand some stuff. I used to just think I was funny, but now I understand I'm funny for a reason. I get to show up in times like this and bring some laughter. And I got celebrities. There's some celebrities that you would know who ask me questions about God. And then one dude, I remember being in the green room with him, and he had women feeding him grapes in the green room. I'm like, dude, you can't feed yourself grapes? That same guy asked me a question about God. He said, how is it that people say that Jesus wants a relationship with me, and I'm doing all of this stuff? How is that possible? And at the time, I didn't know what to say. Because how do you describe, I don't know what to say. This is all I could come up with. I said, it's kind of like being in a car with a navigation device. You ever been in a car with a navigation device before? You guys ever been in a car before? You ever been in a car? You ever see the Amber Alert when you're driving in a car? Yeah, this is all special effects. That's what's happening right now. It's all special effects. That's just part of it. I'm trying to get your heart alarmed to what I'm saying about the Lord. So cool. There'll be another wave of that sound in a minute for the phones that are a little late, like the Androids. They're gonna come in later. Be a little. So I said to him, have you ever been in a car with a navigation device before? And he just stared at me like y'all did. But you guys have been in a car. And if it says go 10 blocks and turn left, and you go, Androids, hey, how you guys doing? It's great. Great, I knew it. No, for real. If your phone ringing right now, hold it up. Hold it up. If your phone's ringing, cool. Hey, lady, right there. No, the lady right there. Well, what kind of phone do you have? Please say it out loud. Yeah, what do you know? What do you know? It's just a slight delay. But hey, you're here, and the Lord loves you and your Android. So I just want to point that out. It's fine, cool. And you take great pictures. Good for you. So, if you go 10 blocks and turn left, and it says go 10 blocks and turn left, and you go 10 blocks and turn right, it doesn't abandon what you're supposed to do. It recalculates what you need to do to get to where you're supposed to be based upon where you are. The only problem is if you keep making the wrong turns, the road conditions could be different. They could be rougher, and you're running out of time. So you have to be sensitive to listen to that voice so you can make the right choice about where you're supposed to be. And that voice sounds an awful lot like a coach because you haven't been practicing for nothing. You have to listen to the voice that is alerting you what to do next. I just added that because of the The Amber Alert. I never say the word alert normally, but that's what I just said. So now, New York is too expensive. What I didn't tell you is when I'm doing the show with George Wallace and his best friend Jerry Seinfeld, I am homeless, living in my car. This is one of the stories I talk about in the book. I'm homeless, living. My address was 1997 Chevy Lumina Drive. So New York is too expensive. So I'm like, I moved to California. That's what my idea was. So my cousin had a couch. He said, if you get to my couch, you can move here, you can live with me. I was like, cool. So there's a club in Los Angeles area called the Comedy and Magic Club. In my opinion, the greatest club ever. This club is so prestigious, I can't even get physically inside the club. I can't even buy a ticket. But George Wallace, somebody got a flip phone. But George Wallace, anyway. Your phone got an antenna. Whoever you are, your phone got an antenna. You're like, hello, hello. That's what just happened. George Wallace invites me to the Comedy and Magic Club. He can't get me on stage. He can only get me in the club. I'm like, yes. And I go there, and then after the show, he takes me into the green room. You understand. In the green room are some soldiers in comedy. There's Gary Shanley, George Wallace, and Jay Leno. And for some reason, I'm in the room with these dudes. And they had this big spread of food, just huge, and I'm hungry on every level of the word. But I didn't feel like I belonged in the room. I hadn't contributed anything, so I'm just nibbling on French fries. But they had all this big spread of food, I'm just nibbling on fries. And at the time, you guys may remember, a football player got hit in the eye with a flag, and he lost his vision in one eye, and he was suing the league for $400 million. All of these guys are helping Leno with that subject for the monologue on the Tonight Show. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just nibbling on French fries. But your gift will make room for you. So I'm sitting there, and they're all working on the joke. Then they got quiet, and they looked at me. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, all right, let me see if I got this right. He got hit in the eye with a flag. He lost his vision in one eye, and he's suing the league for $400 million. He's not going to see half of it. For real. How did I get that joke that fast under that much pressure? It wasn't as much pressure as you might think because I'd been practicing since I was a child in the form of a kid who was struggling with his reading. I was practicing. Something from my past showed up in my current, and I was prepared for the future. Somebody got a brick phone. That's what it is now. It's a brick phone. Somebody got the original car phone. It's this big, and you're holding it up to the side of your... How did I get that joke that fast? It wasn't that amazing, actually, because I was prepared, just like you've been preparing. Through the pain, through the hurt, through the confusion. What if God was actually alerting you to something that was going on the inside that he wanted you free from, but you're trying to fix it on the outside? Life will bring you people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free yet. And the yet is optional. You can stay locked up, or you can get curious as opposed to furious. So I mentioned I had a nonprofit, and we go to prisons and homeless shelters. First time I ever went into a prison, I'm scared for real. By the way, the Jay Leno move, after I hit that punchline, I grabbed a piece of steak. I was like, thank you. So first time ever walking into a prison, I'm scared for real, like for real. As soon as I walk in, the security team, they take my belt from me. It's like, you can't have a belt. Somebody might try to hang you. Can't they just boo me like regular people? Why they gotta hang me? I'm in prison, my pants loose. This is a bad idea, man. So I'm walking into prison, and they got these bars. They open in front of you, and they close, and some more bars, and they close. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Welcome home. So I'm scared, and I'm walking in this prison, and I know God is telling me, I really believe he's telling me to do this, and that's why we have Funny for the Forgotten, the nonprofit now. But at the time, I'm scared, and even though I had 8 guards around me at first, but slowly but surely, they start peeling off like they was getting shot by dart guns or something. I get to the last set of bars, it's just me and Barney Fife. There's one doggone prison guard, and he said to me, this is as far as I go. I was like, me too. Send them a DVD, man. I ain't going in there. But I know I'm supposed to go in here, and I walk in, and first of all, there's no stage, there's no glass. We're not doing comedy on the phone. So there's all these prisoners in a big circle, and there's like a hole in the middle of the circle, and there's an aisle leading to the hole in the middle of the circle. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to do jokes in the little circle. And I'm doing the math, I'm looking around the room, and I don't know, I'm scared on the inside, but you can't tell on the outside. So I figure I got 7 steps before I hit center. Once I hit center, I probably got 3 seconds before I need to start talking, 12 seconds before I hit my first punchline, and then I can control the room. Problem is as I'm walking in, I got 6 steps left, 5 steps. I'm looking for comedy, no joke is popping up. I got nothing popping up. 4 steps, nothing. 3 steps, nothing, for real. And then I had 1 joke pop up, but I didn't want to start with it. I was gonna be like, you know what? You guys are a captive audience. I just want to say that, man. Just didn't want to start with that joke. I got 2 steps, I got 1 step, nothing, and I settled his foot. And for real, sitting right up front is a white guy with a white beard named Moses. I was like, thanks, Lord. When I said these words, the place exploded in laughter. I said, Moses, this is what I want you to do. When you see the prison ward, you look him in his eye. You look him right in his eye, and I want you to say, let my people go. How did I get that joke that fast under that much pressure? It was not as much pressure as you might think because I've been practicing. In the form of a child who was struggling with his reading, whose feet were in pain, I was practicing just like you've been practicing. And the direct line to the pain from your past is what's showing up in your current. But you can only take that vertical. The solution is vertical. If you go horizontal, you'll stay stuck. So now, the key, when I say go vertical, is being able to hear God's voice, period. And it's hard to hear his voice when you don't have a choice. What do I mean by that? You're so angry, you're so upset, you're so confused that you can't hear properly. So me and my wife, we may talk about this tonight, we may not, I don't know. By the way, if you want to get tickets, then you really should. The proceeds are going to the same place I mentioned earlier. We talk about 9s. We say every day on a scale of 1 to 10, you should expect to be a 9. I'm not saying you will be a 9. That's not what we say, but if you expect to be a 9 and something takes you off your 9, now you can get curious. And it's impossible to be curious and furious at the same time. So immediately, that gives you the power of choice. But if you're furious, you have no choice in that moment. As we're digging into this and explaining it to people, God shows us there's also 9 fruits of the Spirit. So if there's 9 fruits of the Spirit and somebody says something or you see something or you hear something or read something and suddenly you're off your 9, you just lost something, either love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and you're not the one to make any decisions without those fruit in that moment. You're going to make the wrong decision. So what you do is you go get curious and say, hey, God, how is it possible that that thing took me off my 9? And chances are it's something from your past that's showing up in your current that could affect your future. So me and my wife were looking at some old videos recently. We came across this video of our youngest daughter being born. I'm gonna show you this video. It's not her being born because that's the wrong video. I'm not gonna show you that. But let me set it up for you. In this video, I took this video. But I didn't understand the power of it until I watched the video like you're about to do. So my daughter at the time is 2.5 minutes old. And they got her under the little chicken warmer, the little French fry. I don't know what kind of insurance we had, but they had a French fry warmer there and they were trying to keep her warm. And she's laying there and the nurse is about to clean her up and she starts to cry. I want you to notice what happens when she hears my voice. Okay, Portland, look, I'm right here. It's okay, it's okay. I'm right here, I'm right here. We're doing just fine. It's okay. It's okay, I'm right here. Right here, yeah, it's okay. It's okay, baby. Yo, that was pretty powerful. That was really powerful. Now it's like 7, maybe 7.5 minutes or so later, the nurse is done cleaning her up and she starts to cry again. I speak up and she stops crying again. But I want you to notice what happens when I tell her I love her. Portland, it's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good. It's good. I'm right here. I'm right here. I am right here. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. It's okay. It's okay. So here's the thing. There will be times in life where you feel like you've just been practicing and practicing and practicing. You may be hurt. You may be confused or frustrated, even to the point of tears. The key thing to do in those moments is to be still and listen for the Father's voice, because he is talking to you. And what he wants you to know is that he's right here. He loves you. All you have to do is open your eyes. You hear some music? Yeah, not yet. You're early. You're getting us emotional. Not yet. I got one more story I want to tell. I was like, Lord, is that you? It wasn't the Lord. It was her, all smooth on the keyboards. Right? I got one more story. So before I tell you this last story, I want to tell you how I came up with the story. Then after I tell you how I came up with the story, then she gonna slide in right there. That's the plan. Did y'all feel it? I was like, oh, but no, it's her. So this story that I'm about to tell you, it's a story about having a relationship with Jesus. And the way I came up with this story is I was just writing a joke. I was just doing what I do. And in fact, I was writing a joke about the good room. How many people here know what the good room is? Raise your hand if you know what the good room is. See, there's like barely any hands going up. The reason you don't know what the good room is because I never finished writing a joke, one, and the truth is mostly all of you actually do know what the good room is. Let me explain. The good room is that room in your grandmother's house. Or maybe it's your house or your aunt's house. It's that one room that's better than the rest of the house. Can't nobody go in there. It's plastic on the furniture. You get stuck in the summertime. It's really just for looks. How many people know what the good room is now? Raise your hand. Exactly. So I'm writing this joke about the good room, and in the middle of writing this joke, God stops me. Tells me, no, I want you to tell this story to my kids instead. So I never wrote the joke. Instead, he gave me this story. So I'm going to tell you this story. Now will be a great time to jump in if you want to. Yes, she early and late. That's amazing. It's amazing. She must be mixed. I think that's how that works with you. Early and late. I'm not going to explain the jokes. So this is a story about having a relationship with Jesus. And in this story, I want you, every person in here, every person watching online, every single human being in here, I want you to imagine that you are a house. You're a house. And outside of the house is Jesus Christ. And he wants to come in, but he'll never force his way in. He wants you to invite him in. And the reason some people in here have not invited Jesus into the house is because you're cool with the way things are right now. So it would seem. Whenever you need something, whenever something happens, whenever you're confused, frustrated, you just walk up to the door, crack it open, say a little prayer, maybe complain, then close the door, go back in the house. But that's not a relationship at all. How can you hear his voice under those circumstances? How can you utilize the practice under those circumstances? And the reason you won't let him into the house is because your house is a mess. And you think you need to clean it up first. There may be drugs, or pornography in the house, or you buying a bunch of stuff, trying to stay extra busy, or there's some extra emotions in the house, some anger, some frustration, confusion, and you think you got to take care of all of that first. Or relationships. You brought other people in the house, hoping that somehow they could help you clean it up, but they can't. The only one who can clean it up is standing outside the door wearing an apron with a bucket in his hand, waiting on you to truly open the door. Then there's other people in here right now who used to have Jesus in the whole house, but whether you realize it or not, you've moved him to just one room in the house, the good room. Have you ever noticed how the good room most of the time is the one right up front with the big window? So when people look in, they think the whole house is clean. But it's not. It's just that one room. You quote scripture, but it's just that one room. You give money, but it's just that one room. You got a Bible verse tattooed on your body, but it's just that one room. Jesus wants access to the whole house, and I'm telling you, if you'll just open his door and let him in, he'll show up with a contractor named the Holy Spirit. And they will make sure the house is functioning the way it was intended to. But none of this happens if you don't open the door. Because he will never force his way in. Other people can't force him into your house. He only comes in if you invite him in. So if everyone in here, if you could just close your eyes, bow your head. I do this because I want you to have a private moment where no one's looking around. So if you know this is resonating with you and you need to invite Jesus into your house for the first time, on the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to do something really simple. Or maybe you're in here and you need to invite Jesus into your entire house once again because you've moved him into just one room. If either of those are the case for you, on the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to do something really simple. On the count of 3, I just simply want you to put your hand in the air. Don't overthink this, but if you need to invite Jesus into the house for the first time or to give him full access, on the count of 3, put your hand in the air. Hands are already going up. 1, 2, 3, nice and high. Praise God, praise God. All right, go ahead and put your hands down. And now look up at me. First thing I want to say, I'm proud of you. Now listen, there's some people in this room who have never received that phrase from a father's voice. You've never received the phrase, I'm proud of you, from a father's voice. So I'm going to repeat that phrase, and all I want you to do in this moment is to work to receive it. And this isn't about what you've done or not done. This is just you receiving the truth from a father's voice. I am proud of you. 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 I am proud of you.